That being said, I think he showed up for the job. He got the work done. I think some of the accomplishments also in the Middle East and foreign policy will also stand the test of time.
You think the Middle East is in better shape today than when he took office?
Well, I think he got our hostages home. I think that's a big deal. I think it's important.
I'm sorry, which hostages?
All right, buckle up for this one. Since Joe Biden, his term is ending, I think CNN is still trying to push this narrative that Joe Biden, he wasn't that bad of a president. In fact, Joe Biden himself, it's coming out that he wishes he actually ran for presidency. We'll get to that later in the video, because he really thinks he would have beat Donald Trump and that Kamala Harris actually did a pretty bad job. Now, in this segment, you are about to watch Scott Jennings absolutely freak out on the fact that anyone is even trying to notion that Joe Biden did an amazing job. Everything was okay. What was that bad about Joe Biden? I'm going to let this clip speak for itself, so sit back, relax, and enjoy.
But Joe Biden's record with regard to the things that he's accomplished, I think will stand the test of time. Now, what my dear friend Scott and others will talk about, and quite frankly, I'm going to say this, rightfully so, it was very disturbing to learn late in the year about just how how poor his health has become. And like many, I did not realize that it had gotten to that point. That being said, I think he showed up for the job. He got the work done. I think some of the accomplishments also in the Middle East and foreign policy will also stand the test of time.
You think the Middle East is in better shape today than when he took office?
Well, I think he got our hostages home. I think that's a big deal. I think it's important.
I'm sorry, which hostages?
He's gotten a number of people home. He was able.
There's still 100 people over there.
Well, there were more than that.
Including some Americans. Look, I think he's gonna leave office in disgrace. The Hunter Biden pardon was disgraceful. He's going to be remembered largely for inflation and for the disastrous Afghanistan pullout. And I think as we continue to, we're just getting the first draft of this now, but as we continue to learn about the massive cover-up that went on, not about his health, but about his mental acuity, to cover that up, the efforts that were undertaken by the White House staff, by his family, not in the last couple of months, but for all 4 years, I think it's going to be a really ugly chapter. It's a diminished presidency because of it. And I think we still don't know the full extent of what they did to try to hide what they've been doing over in the West Wing.
All right, I want to stop right here. Scott Jennings really did a great mic drop moment, and he left a really important point. There is still a lot we need to learn. I think personally, this is my personal opinion, I think without a doubt there are cover-ups. There is no way that all of a sudden, because of the one moment between Donald Trump and him, when they did the live debate and Joe Biden just looked absolutely terrible, all of a sudden we are seeing reports that doctors are showing up to the White House, everything is spiraling downhill, and now all of a sudden they lifted Kamala Harris without any sort of vote to actually put her into the position to run against Donald Trump. I think there's a lot of red flags that happen between Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the DNC. And I personally hold the opinion that Joe Biden sort of has turned on the DNC and is like, good riddance. If you guys are going to turn on me, I'm going to turn on you. Which is why I think Joe Biden even pardoned Hunter Biden and pardoned a bunch of other people. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down below. That is my personal opinion and my observation on the whole ordeal. We also still need to find out what the heck happened with Afghanistan. But I'm going to let this clip play through because it's still kind of funny.
I think leaving in disgrace is when you have an insurrection at the Capitol. Like, that's leaving in disgrace. Being impeached twice is leaving in disgrace. So that's a difference. I think Joe Biden's going to be remembered in the short term for what you were talking about, whether or not he had the capacity to lead, who knew what when. I mean, there are many people outside of the very small network of Anita Dunn and Valerie Biden Owens and Jill Biden and Hunter. There aren't many people who knew the concerns that were there or whether or not he was up or fit for the job. And so those questions will be asked. Over the long term, this is somebody a lot like Mitch McConnell. You don't necessarily have to agree with everything they stood for. You don't have to agree with every vote. But you always knew they put the American people first.
Look, a lot of us tend to forget that Joe Biden was actually in office for a very long time. He made some good decisions, he made some bad decisions, but he's always been rather moderate, and all of a sudden, he just decided to change. He was never for this totally open border policy. In fact, he has always said, and he got a lot of flack for it, we cannot keep our borders as open as they are. Anyway, this next clip is another CNN moment where Scott Jennings is pointing out more things that Joe Biden did wrong, because Joe Biden was asked in an interview, do you have any regrets in your presidency?
I mean, he should have never run for re-election. Mike is exactly right. When he got asked about regrets, the fact that he didn't say, I regret that 13 American service members lost their lives in Afghanistan, to me, that he can't muster the courage to say that now is a disgrace. Beyond that, he's leaving office in disgrace. I mean, you got less than 20% of the American people now that think the country is on the right track. That's a lower number than it even was on Election Day. And what's happened since Election Day? He pardoned his son, Hunter. He commuted the sentences of a bunch of evil killer thugs on federal death row. Not all of them, just the ones that he wanted to. Didn't even make a principled stand on that. And then he went on vacation, which is where he is.
And we have to remember the total context. We still have no idea what the heck happened in Afghanistan. We are still getting the testimonies of the Marines and other security forces who were in the area and the airport of what was going down. We still don't have any very high-profile officers who have told their testimony or have even gotten in trouble for any failures in the operation. And also, as far as the pardons that have happened, we were told for so long, Hunter Biden is not above the law. He will not get pardoned, gets pardoned, and then that's it. The story moves on. The news cycle moves on. They don't want to make Joe Biden look too bad.
Right now, this is a failed, disgraced president, and he has never, ever owned up to what happened in Afghanistan and the role that that played in destroying those families' lives and destroying his own presidency.
So I think Donald Trump needs to say, I'm sorry that 1 million people died in COVID while I was telling people to shine light in their bodies and take disinfectant.
That's false.
No, that's exactly what he said. He said you should shine light in your own body.
Again,
right?
I'll go through this with you guys.
And take disinfectant.
All right, we can fact check
He needs to say he's sorry for that.
He speculated about the effect of light on the virus and disinfectant.
Right. While the doctor stood
Publicly,
behind him.
and
Oh my God, I believe he's saying that.
Speculated about whether
People told us to stand 6 feet apart and wear masks, and that didn't exactly solve anything.
I would be very careful if I was CNN misrepresenting Donald Trump. I know many of you are aware that Donald Trump was able to successfully sue ABC News for doing the exact same thing. That is why you sort of heard the other co-news anchor say, well, we don't know that, we can fact check that. He was just misrepresenting the statements. Donald Trump was not completely saying exactly what you were saying. You see, they're trying to cover their butts a little bit. Now, in this next clip, you are about to witness all of the news agencies, not only CNN, try and really convince the American public that Joe Biden was always good to go. He's going to run for the presidency. He is healthy. He's in good shape. You'll see exactly what I mean.
Does the president have the stamina, physically and mentally, do you think, to continue on even after 2024?
Don, you're asking me this question. Oh my gosh, he's the president of the United States. You know, I can't even keep up with him.
The most difficult part about a meeting with President Biden is preparing for it, because he is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
I can testify because I've been working very closely with this president for the past 2 years. I've been knowing him for 30 years. And I'm telling you, this guy's tough. He's smart. He's on his game.
Joe Biden has vision. He has knowledge. He has a strategic thinker.
The president is focused. He's detail-oriented. He's always thinking about the big picture.
He is engaging. He is capable. He has an incredible record as president.
And I'm often with him on foreign trips. He's at the top of his game.
So he has a vision. He has knowledge. He has judgment. He has a strategic thinking.
I met with the president, 5 or 6 weeks ago, and he seemed fine to me.
I have complete confidence in the president. I have watched him expertly guide meetings of staff and cabinet members. I could not have more confidence in the president.
I would just tell you that I meet frequently with the president, and every single time I meet with him, he is just fine.
But he is, again, knowledgeable, wise.
Incredibly sharp, incredibly probing, incredible command of the details.
He is sharp.
He is on top of things.
There is nothing to these challenges, these suggestions that somehow he's not sharp and he's not capable.
We see Joe Biden up close. We know how attuned he is to the issue.
And you're going to see how smart he is and the experience he has.
I say his age is an asset.
Aha!
He's wise.
Yes, he's wise. He has wisdom. He has experience.
And his experience, because of his age and his wisdom, has been invaluable to this country.
A lot of countries, people who've been in office a longer period of time are praised for their wisdom.
I have seen a lot of 72-year-olds not as capable as this 80-year-old.
It is hard for us to keep up with this president.
His mental acuity is great. It's fine. It's as good as it's been over the years. He's fine. All this right-wing propaganda that his mental acuity has declined is wrong.
And this kind of sense that he's not ready for this job is just a bucket of BS that's so deep, your boots will get stuck in.